Hi folks, welcome back to the bench. Today we've got an absolute beauty for you. Let's dive straight in. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you one vintage Hofner Club 60. And we've been lucky enough to have a number of gems on the bench over the years, and this very much will now be included in that list. We're going to be doing a full setup and service today. It is in need of a little bit of service, and we thought we'd invite you along, show you the various stages, we'll give you some tips along the way, and most importantly, the bit you all want, what does she sound like? You'll be hearing that very shortly. And the first stage will be to get the strings off, which we typically use our gun. With something this old, we're going to show her a bit more care. We're going to get these off by hand. So we've got our strings off. We're going to get the board cleaned up and get these frets polished. The body looks absolutely beautiful, and some of the wear factor, considering the age, it's just absolutely gorgeous. We'll have a look at the circuitry in just a moment. Original pickups, original plate, original frets, everything is all original. We're going to tackle the fretboard first. We've got a little bit of a secret solution here, and this is a combination of lemon oil, fretboard conditioner, and a mild soapy solution. It's just easier to apply in one go via a spray bottle. We're going to work around the board with a nail file brush. These are very, very soft bristles, so they won't hurt the board. You can also use a toothbrush to get into some of those hard to reach areas, but we'll get the first coat on now. Let's let it settle for a bit, and then we'll get cleaned up. So while that sits there for a minute, let's just give you the backstory about how this came into Graham's life. For those that watch our Workbench Wednesday segments, you'll have already heard about this guitar. But for those of you that are new, we'll give you the backstory. He was owed some money, and unfortunately, the person that owed the money couldn't come up with it, and a deal was struck, and this guitar was given in exchange for the services. And on reflection, I don't think it was a bad deal at all. Thinking of the time and the era and what this was, and to where it is now, I think you come up trumps, Graham. So that's been on long enough. We can get that wiped over now, and then we'll concentrate on the frets, and we'll show you some methods that we're going to use today. And there are many videos on YouTube covering fret polishing. Us ourselves have put a few previously documented videos together. For this today, we won't be using any rotary tools. We're going to be doing everything by hand, simply because of the delicacy of the instrument, and she deserves that extra special treatment. It is a little bit of a long-winded process. It will be very much sped up for you lovely people, but we're going to go in with some fine grade steel wool to take some of the initial abrasions off and oxidization and wear. We'll then go in with some sandpaper and a course of about 10 different grades. Lastly, we'll do a metal polish, and these will be shining like diamonds in about a few minutes' time. A few minutes for you, a couple of hours for me. And you are looking at the world's worst Michael Jackson impersonator. If you don't want to scratch the board, little top tech tip will be to take a paintbrush, and we can just brush away some of those steel flakes. We then won't scratch the board. The same can be done for your guard. Make sure we brush it regularly. We don't want to cause any damage to something this beautiful. So we've done our steel wool treatment. We can now concentrate on the sandpaper segment. This will be about 10 different grades from 2000 right the way up to 15,000, and it will really bring the shine to these frets. Another little top tech tip for this will be to take some masking tape or some low tack painter's tape. Take some off, put it on your clothing first to get rid of some of that excess sticky, and it will just help it when we're removing, not to damage the finish. I also find it a little bit easier to work the sandpaper in strips, so cut them down and we can get all in the nooks and the crannies. I'm going to start with 2000 grit, and we'll work our way up 5,000, 7,000, 10,000, so on and so forth. We'll show you the finished product in just a minute. And as a piece of advice, when rubbing these frets up, these sticky patches can come a little bit loose, so I always have a spare piece tucked to one side, just in case you need one. And these are starting to look absolutely beautiful. For my preference of polish, I use Music Nomads. The application's just quite easy, and I love the finish. We're not endorsing this video, is not sponsored by them, but anything I'm using today will be linked below. I'm going to get polished away. See you in a second. There we have, folks, one cleaned up fretboard, and those frets are absolutely gleaming. Now, hopefully they're glistening on your screen. It's lovely to have something so beautiful on the bench. I don't mean me, by the way. We've got our fretboard and frets done. The next thing will be to polish the body and service those electrics. I will be removing the plate just so we can try and cover all of the areas. And another top tech tip for any Hofners with the neck, a small paintbrush or even a makeup brush will just ensure you can get under there. It is a little bit tricky, but take your time. Let's get all that dust out. I wanted to mention about this very, very clever design. These pieces can come out and we can alter the slots to affect the intonation. It is such a simplistic and wonderful design. Obviously the height is then determined on the two wheels that you can see. Give this a last little clean. We are looking good. We've got the electrics done, body polished, the frets are gleaming. Let's get a set of strings on and we can hear her in action. So we are all done, folks. There's no truss rod adjustment required on this instance. We have checked the neck and the levels and they're absolutely perfect. Considering the age and how long it's been left, I imagine that neck may have moved massively and it is absolutely spot on. It just goes to show they don't make them like they used to. The most important thing now is hearing this in action, and something this vintage deserves something just as special for our amplifier. And I'd like to thank Andy, one of our other customers. He's very kindly let us borrow his vintage Marshall Mercury 2060. So the Hofner through the Marshall is going to give us that real vintage twang. There's no effects pedals, there's no loopers. It's going to be raw and I'm going to sound terrible. Do forgive me, I like my effects. Let's see what it sounds like. And there we have it, folks, one vintage Hofner all done and ready to rock again. I'd love to thank Graham for giving us the opportunity to share with you lovely people of YouTube, and Andy as well for letting us borrow his vintage Marshall for the sound check. For any questions or comments, please drop them below and we'll do our best to respond as quickly as possible. Thank you ever so much for the continued support. It really has been wonderful to see the love on these videos. As we mentioned earlier, for any of the tools and equipment we've used, there will be some affiliate links below. They're of no additional cost to yourselves, but going through the links, the channel does receive a very, very small commission, and it does just help produce these videos and keep them coming. In the meantime, thank you very much for joining us. Happy rocking, and as I always say, another day, another guitar. See you soon.